Hey everybody, my name is April and this is Thrifty Nerdy Mom. So if you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. So glad to see everyone. Today's DIY is a Frozen 2 themed ear tutorial. But before I get too far into that, please like and subscribe. Join our family. We would love to have you. I post DIYs most of the time once a week. But I'll get into that in just a second. So today's DIY is Olaf inspired wired ears. I've made ears on my channel before. I'll link that up above. But I don't think I've shown any wired ears. And I was really feeling this idea and decided to do it. Back to the whole most weeks I do DIYs. So next week we are going to be at Disney. So next weekend I won't be posting DIY, but we might do something special instead, but we'll have to see. And that's also why I don't have the ears on right now, is because they are packed up and ready to go to Disney, and that bag is so full that if I open it, I may not get it closed again. So let's get on into the ears. So let's first talk about what you're going to need for this DIY. You're going to need a wide headband. I picked this one up from Amazon, but you can pick one up from Dollar Tree. Some purple floral wire that I picked up from Dollar Tree. Olaf came from Dollar Tree. Some foam sheets that came from Dollar Tree. Wire cutters that came from Dollar Tree. This electrical tape didn't come from Dollar Tree, but you can pick it up there. This fabric came from Walmart, but yes, pretty much these ears can be recreated from everything at Dollar Tree. You're also going to need a hot glue gun and hot glue sticks. So, to make my wire ear form, I usually use a cup. You use your best judgment on how big you want the ears to be, personally. But how I first start out with bending, I straighten out my wire before I bend it around the cup. I will overlap the wire with on the very bottom of the ear form. Then where the pieces overlap, I'm going to take electrical tape and wrap it around that bottom. It secures the bottom of the wires, or it's actually one piece of wire, but it secures it all together, and then B, it makes it a lot easier to glue down onto the headband. When you get done wrapping up your ear, you're going to take your ear form and kind of push that bottom onto the headband. Also, I made sure to use blue electrical tape because I figured that you would be able to see it better. Back to the ear forms. Once you get both ear forms wrapped up, kind of put them together and just make sure that they match. They don't have to be perfect, but make sure that they're pretty well matching. Back to the blue electrical tape. Black electrical tape would probably be better because it matches the headband, but I wanted you to be able to see this. So, like I said, it's a lot easier to attach with the electrical tape on the bottom. So, press that into your headband, but be very careful and do not burn yourself. And then after it is secure, I'm going to use some black satin ribbon to, once again, kind of camouflage that blue electrical tape, or even if I use black to camouflage it, and then B, to add a little bit more security with the wire ear forms. You are going to want to add hot glue every once in a while you're wrapping that ribbon around the headband. So now that our headband's wrapped, it's time to start working on Olaf. Olaf, if you pull out that little metal piece just a little bit and then start twisting him around, it should come right out. It doesn't really take that much effort. He'll just have a little piece like in the back of his head, but not that big to worry about. Here, if you did not want to make a bow, you could totally add Olaf in the middle and make this a 100% Dollar Tree product, but I really like that fabric. It's coordinating with some other bows we have going on, so I want to add Olaf underneath a wire form. I believe I put it on the right side. But to secure him onto the headband, you're going to want to glue down add some hot glue onto the bottom of his feet and push him down onto the headband with the glue. After the glue is somewhat dry and secure, you're going to add hot glue all around his feet to add more secureness. I can't think of the word, but yes, you're going to have like a big blob of hot glue, but I will show you in a second how we're going to cover that up. So let's talk about what else we're going to have on this awesome pair of ears. You're going to use these foam sheets, and I am just sketching out like little templates of leaves. You could totally print out something and trace it, or you can do what I'm doing and just make up some leaves. It's kind of the most simplest thing to kind of sketch out. But if you also had a Cricut machine, you could totally use a Cricut too, but I don't own one, so I tend to sketch out my stuff. Plus I liked the texture and the depth of the foam more than a sticker quality. So after you sketch out all your leaves, and I did just 2 foam sheets together and then cut them all out together, that way I wouldn't have to do 4 foam sheets of leaves. You're going to cut them all out, and then I kind of push them to the side, that way they're not getting all over my work area. So we are going to use these little foam leaves and start by covering up that hot glue bob at the bottom of Olaf's feet. I start with covering up the front and then covering up the back, but you could do it either way, just as long as your hot glue blob is not showing. Now that that's all done, I'm going to start using the foam pieces to cover up the headband. I did not add it to the middle because I'm using a bow. Now I'm just adding some foam leaves around Olaf to make it kind of look like a little gale whirlwind is going around him. I start off on the front and then I'll add it around his little body. So now that Olaf's covered, we're going to start putting some foam leaves on to the wire form. I am going to work around the front. You can put it just randomly throughout. I don't have a rhyme or reason for the colors. I just kind of keep an eye out on what I want to do, so it's totally up to you. After I completely add leaves onto the entire front of the wire form, I'm going to show you how to kind of disguise the hot glue on the back. Kind of like we did with the Olaf, we're just going to add leaves onto the back exactly where we did on the front. You don't have to put the same colors front and back. You can do an orange and a blue together, or pink and a purple, as long as you have a leaf covering up the hot glue spots. Now that I have all the ears and the headband decorated, let's work on the bow. I usually do just one type of bow. This one is about 8 inches. No, it looks like 10 by 8. And then I add a 1/2 inch seam on both sides. This is to keep the fabric from fraying. This is always how I kind of do a bow, but if you want to see other ways to do bows, look up Saria from Dream It DIY. She has several tutorials on different bows. This is just how I prefer to make my bows. So after I do my seam, I'm going to add 3 lines of hot glue, one at the top, middle, and bottom, in the middle of the fabric, and then fold the fabric into the middle. After I get the fabric prepared, I'm just going to start accordion folding the bow. I like this because it scrunches it up perfectly in the middle. That way it's easier to wrap ribbon around, and it keeps it like perfectly like symmetrical. So after I accordion fold, I fluff out my ends. And now I'm just going to use a scrap piece of fabric to put for the middle part of the bow. I often use just like a thicker ribbon to do this, but I thought it just looked more cohesive, and I did have a piece of scrap fabric, so I decided to use that. It's going to be a longer rectangle, that way you can wrap it around the bow and then also wrap it around the headband. So you added a little dab of hot glue onto the bow, and then wrapped the rectangle around the bow, and then add some hot glue onto the bottom of the bow. That way you can secure it onto the headband, and then wrap that longer piece of rectangle around the headband as well. And make sure that you secure the bottom piece of the fabric onto the bottom of the headband. These are the ears when it's done. I'm super proud of them. I just absolutely love it. The shirt I'm wearing to Epcot kind of reminds me of the scene from Frozen, and that's what inspired these ears. So those were the ears. I've actually made the wire pair and a couple other pairs of ears to kind of coordinate with each other. This trip will be me, Emma, and my mom, so I've made 3 pairs of ears. But these were kind of cool and thought I would share. But comment down below and let me know what type of ears you want me to like make for my channel, because I kind of got the ear bug. But that is it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. We won't see you with the DIY next week, but maybe we'll be doing something special. And until we see you again, see you later. Bye.